everybody, and welcome back to Aquinas Tuition's tutorial on National 5 RUAE. Today we are going to be practicing how to answer word choice questions. I'm Alice, one of the English specialists at Aquinas, and I'm looking forward to taking you through this tutorial today. So, first up, what are word choice questions? Well, firstly, they fall under the umbrella of analysis questions. That means they are different from own words questions, which we consider understanding style questions. RUAE stands for Reading for Understanding, Analysis and Evaluation. So, word choice questions come under that A. They come under analysis. Within this question type, you will always be required to identify a quote, and you will be marked on your ability to be able to choose a good quote that answers the question. So at National 5, you always get 1 mark for just quoting, okay? So it's something that you need to be really, really good at. The second part of word choice questions are that you need to be able to comment on the connotations of the quote that you have chosen. I'll be talking a little bit more about connotations on the next slide, so just remember that word, but don't worry about it too much at this point. We're still going through what word choice questions actually are. The last thing that you need to make sure that you are doing in word choice questions is ensuring that your answer always links to the question. Quite often, in my experience of marking people's exam papers, is that sometimes pupils choose good quotes and they do a decent analysis, but they haven't linked it to the question, which sometimes makes it a little bit harder for you to be able to award the mark for the comment on. They may well get a mark for the quote, but they won't necessarily get a mark for the comment. So just make sure that your answers always link to what the question's actually asking you to do. The method then for actually answering the question or laying out your answer is very simple. It's nothing complicated. You need to, like I said in my previous tutorial, always make the most of bullet points because it makes it nice and clear for the examiner, and it also allows you to target the marks. In your word choice answer bullet points, you should always start off with the quote that relates to the question, and then you comment on it. Okay, so if it was like a 4-mark question, for instance, you would do 2 bullet points, because if you managed to get all 4 marks, you'd get 1 mark for a quote and 1 mark for a comment. Okay, so make sure that you use bullet points and follow this method: quote, comment. So what are connotations? Well, connotations are an idea or a feeling which a word invokes for a person in addition to its literal or primary meaning. Essentially, what that is a word, every single word that is at least descriptive in some way, often has ideas or feelings that are associated with it, in addition to what it literally means. So I've got an example here which will hopefully elucidate that for you. My example is champagne, okay? This drink that we drink on special occasions. The literal meaning of champagne is that it is a bubbly liquid that can be drunk and is made out of grapes. That's literally what champagne is, okay? So that's that part of that definition. The connotations, though, of the word are not things that is literally to do with champagne. Connotations are the things that we think about, we feel, or we have ideas about in relation to the drink. So a connotation of champagne: celebration, wealth, luxury, parties, glamour, joy, prestige. Those aren't literal definitions, but those are the things that we might think about or feel when we hear the word champagne. This is connotation down there. That is what we are interested in when you're answering on word choice questions. What are the connotations then of the word summer? I want you to pause the video for a minute or two, and I want you to write as many connotations as you can think of about the word summer. Remember that connotations are ideas, feelings associated with that word. So the literal meaning is a season in the year. Connotations I've come up with are freedom, relaxation, warmth, holidays, outdoor activities. Those are things that we associated with summer. Let's look at a National 5 word choice question then. One thing to be aware of at National 5 is that sometimes they might specifically signpost you to answer on word choice, clearly, but often they phrase these style of questions as use of language. Now, use of language, again, is an umbrella phrase. And in use of language, you are allowed to comment on word choice, but you're also allowed to comment on sentence structure and imagery. I often advise my pupils, if they don't specifically say they want you to answer on word choice or sentence structure or imagery, and they have this broad term use of language, try to answer on word choice first of all, because often you can get the marks a little bit more easily. It's often easier to actually analyze, and it's easy to target the marks. But if you can see a really clear instance of sentence structure or imagery that you feel confident in analyzing, them, by all means go for that. If a question says specifically it wants you to answer on word choice and sentence structure, then you've got to make sure that you do both of those things. You can't just choose one of them. If it asks you just to answer on word choice, then just answer on word choice. But from my experience, quite often they use this broad term use of language, which means you can answer on any of them. But as I said, I would maybe go for word choice first of all. Have a little look at this question, which is taken from, I think it's the 2024 RUAE paper on Bluey, which is the same paper that I was using last week when we were doing own words questions. For those of you that didn't watch last week's tutorial, didn't need help with that, just a little bit of context for you. So Bluey is an Australian children's show. The writer is writing about how brilliant it is and how much he enjoys watching it with his children. And so that is the context of this extract here. The question asks the following. Look at lines 6 to 8. By referring to two examples of language, explain how the writer makes clear his admiration for the show. It's worth 4 marks, which means that you need to do the quote comment times 2, because remember, you get 1 mark for your quote and you get 1 mark for your comment. Make sure that you look at how many marks there are available and target those. The writer is admiring the show, and that is what the question is asking us to do. It's saying, explain how the writer makes clear his admiration of the show through his use of language. So you would go back in the paper, in the extract, and you would find that specific line, and you would think, okay, right, what could I comment on here? There's loads of stuff that you can comment on. Even in that, the first 5 or 6 words, you can actually pick out a huge amount of word choice that you could comment on. I'm just going to underline a few of them. So on every level, it's unbeatable. Really great quote for showing your admiration of something. Charm, perceptiveness, ambition, execution, cross-generational appeal. All of these could be used to answer this question. In 6 years of parenting, Bluey remains the only program to have caused all 4 members of my household to laugh to the point of breathlessness at exactly the same time. Honestly, there's so much that you could comment on here. Even remains the only program. That's a really clear way to show admiration as well. I've got a couple of examples here of things that I thought were really easy to show the writer's admiration. So have a little look at my answers. I've chosen charm. Chose that word. I thought that was really easy to show his admiration. So I've picked out the quote, and as you can see, I've been short, I've been precise, I've been to the point. I would advise with word choice questions, kind of 1 to maximum 5 word quotes is probably all you need in order to get the quote mark. So I've chosen charm, and then I've thought, well, what are the connotations of charm and how does it link to the question? Okay, it suggests the program is likable and engaging. Well, that clearly shows his admiration, doesn't it, if he thinks it's likable and engaging? My second one that I picked out was the slightly longer quote, laugh to the point of breathlessness. Okay, that's a really good quote to show admiration. Often when you admire something, you might laugh at it, you might chuckle at it. And then I've said suggests it's extremely funny, which again, if something's very funny, then you admire that person's ability to make you laugh. Really clear answers. I would have got 4 marks for that. Let's have a go. Well, let's let you guys have a go, actually. What I want you to do is I want you to pause this video and I want you to read the extract, which is question 6 of the Bluey paper. It's worth 4 marks again. So that means 2 quote comments. It's asking you, again, it's another admiration question, quite repetitive, but it's saying, how does the writer make it clear that he admires the character of Bandit? Again, it's saying 2 examples of language. I want you to focus on word choice, and I've given you an example there. Pause this video and have a go. Right, so you should have some answers down now. Let's have a little look at the mark scheme. I am not going to read all of these out, so again, pause the video, have a little look at your answers, have a little look at the mark scheme. If your answer isn't necessarily on this mark scheme, don't worry too much about it. As you can see at the top here, these answers are possible answers. If you would like to know if your answer would get a mark, then you can always pop it in the comments and one of us will come back to you and reply with our ideas. Be aware in this mark scheme that not all of these are word choice. For instance, I saw list here that would come under sentence structure, as would repetition, but you'll be able to see maybe your quotes are there as well. So pause this video, have a little look, have you got some marks? Right guys, that was the end of the word choice tutorial today. I hope that it has helped you. There are downloadable resources on word choice questions on our website, www.aquinas.tuition.co.uk. These are free. Please go over to the website, download them. If you've got any questions, then you can comment on this video or you could email us at info@aquinas.tuition.co.uk. If you'd like any support, tutoring support, group revision courses, then do just get in touch with us via our contact form on the website or just email us. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure teaching you all today, and I will see you next week.